All right, lesson 4 is all about constructions. So these are the constructions you're going to be responsible for in this unit. This first one is pretty much just a review. It says construct the midpoint of a segment. So you've already done that, and I'll let you think about how we've done that before. The second construction is going to be to construct a line parallel to a given line through a point outside the line. So a point's not going to be on the given line, it's going to be above it or around it or below it somewhere. We're going to construct perpendiculars. There's two different ways we're going to construct perpendiculars. One is going to be with the point off the line or outside the line, and the other one's going to be with the point on the line. So to warm up, let's go ahead and construct the midpoint of these segments. So again, think about it. If you know how to do it, go ahead and pause, but how do you construct a midpoint? So the only way to construct that midpoint is to do your perpendicular bisector. So how do you do your perpendicular bisector? Well, you put your compass point here on the end point of the given segment. You open your compass to more than halfway of the segment. You just kind of eyeball it. And then you go ahead and you make your mark, your arc. You pick up your compass, leave it open to the exact same length. You move it over here to the other end point. And once again, you make your mark. Now, some of you on the test weren't making both of these points of intersection. You cannot draw a line through here or identify the perpendicular bisector or create it unless you have 2 points, because no line can be drawn unless you have 2 given points. So here are my 2 points. So now you take your ruler, you line it up. You can't see my ruler. I line it up, and then if I was lining it up, I would be making this line right here, but I only want the midpoint, so I'm just going to put it right here. So otherwise, I would draw the line, but I want the midpoint, which is right here. So this is my midpoint. So go ahead and practice again on this other one. So all of these second ones are for you to practice, so go ahead and practice on your own. Okay, so you should have done pretty much the exact same process, or not pretty much, but you should have done the exact same process, and that was to put your compass point here, make the same marks. If you're not sure, again, you can just rewatch this video from the beginning and try the same process. Okay, moving on, this is a new construction here. So first we're going to learn how to construct parallel lines. So when you are constructing parallel lines, you're going to construct parallel lines through a given point that is outside the line. So we have a point given outside of the line here. How do we draw a line parallel through this point, parallel to this line? Okay, step number 1. You draw a transversal. It can be at any angle you want it to be. So you're going to draw a transversal through the given point. Okay, so a transversal through this given point right here. Well, how we're going to draw these or construct these parallel lines is by corresponding angles. Right, so I'm going to draw a pair of corresponding angles, because what you learned last lesson is if corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So we've already learned how to copy an angle, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy an angle. But one of the things I already know that I did poorly here when I first made this is I didn't make this transversal long enough. So you need to make your transversal probably a little bit longer, reaching up here to the constructions above. So now I'm going to copy this angle down here in the left-hand corner. So I put my compass point on the intersection of the transversal and the original parallel line, and I make an arc. And then you take your compass, you keep it open the same length. You take your compass, you move it up here to your point outside the line, and you make the exact same arc. Because we know we want our parallel line through here somewhere, so I'm trying to make these corresponding angles congruent. So how do you ensure that this angle up here is congruent to this angle down here? Well, remember, you take your compass and you put it on the intersection of the arc and the transversal, and you move it down here, and you adjust your compass, because we're copying the length of this angle. So we can see now that that's the same opening measure. So I go up here, I put it up here where the arc intersects my transversal. I make this arc, and now I'm going to connect my given point through this given intersection, or through the intersection I just created with the arc here, to make a parallel line. And I was off a little bit. Again, my ruler's not very good, but these two lines are parallel to each other. Why are they parallel to each other? Because these corresponding angles right here, angle 1 and angle 2, are congruent to each other. Therefore, these two lines are parallel. So practice again on this other one over here. So I'm going to practice, and what you might want to do is practice with the transversal going a different direction. So perhaps you want to draw the transversal like this. Oops, see my ruler's off on my board, making it a little bit tricky for me. Sorry about that. So here's my transversal. I'm going to take, remember the first thing you do is you take your compass and you make an arc across the transversal and the original parallel line, or yeah, the original line, you're going to make something parallel to it. Then you go up, you keep your compass open the same width, you go up here and you make that same arc up here. Then you come back down where your transversal intersects that arc. You measure that width of the angle, or that rotation of the angle, and you see, yep, I have it correct. So then I go up here and I go where the transversal intersects the arc, and I make the same mark. And now I have my 2 points that I can draw my line through. So I line up my ruler. Again, my ruler's a little off on this board. I'm doing my best. That was a little better. So now these 2 lines are parallel to each other. Okay, perpendicular lines. So perpendicular lines, we're going to do it 2 ways. The first way is to go make perpendicular lines through a point not on the line. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, for perpendicular lines, the first thing you do is you start with your compass on the given point outside the line. And you open up your compass so that when you can make it go through the given line at one point and then swoop it around and make it go through the given line over here. So it has to have 2 intersections through the given line. If you opened your compass too wide, you can always extend your line right here. So you could extend your line if you wanted to. So from there, we're going to go move our compass down here. And we're just going to make another little arc down below, because this is like my new segment right here. So basically I'm bisecting this pink segment, right? And if I bisect that pink segment, that means that I am making a perpendicular bisector, which is what we need to do. We're making perpendicular lines going through that point. So I continue, I do this. So why am I not making the same arcs up here? Well, it's unnecessary. You don't have to do that because you already have your point up here. This was my original point I started with. Here's my new point, right? So I'm bisecting this pink segment right here. So how did I get the pink segment? I first made these scoops, and then I'm coming down here and doing this. And now I connect these 2 points. And so here is my perpendicular, that is perpendicular to this original line I had going through this point. So it's given a point outside the line, construct the perpendicular to the given point to the given line. Okay, so try it again over here. Try it on your own. I'm going to demonstrate it, but I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to demonstrate. So now my pink line is my perpendicular through the given point, and it's perpendicular to the given line. Okay, our final construction today is how to construct a given point. Sorry, I need to get my compass back here. Okay, so given a point on the line, how do I do a construction of a perpendicular to this line through this given point? So before we had the point off the line, now the point is on the line. So what do? Well, once again, you have to create a segment in this line. And if you create the segment, then you can bisect it. And we've learned how to bisect. Remember, we just went over that at the beginning. We just did it again recently. So what do we do here? The first thing you do is put your compass point on the given point. So put your compass tip on the given point, and you make an arc on the left-hand side of the point, and over here on the right-hand side of the given point. So now what did I do? I just created a segment on this line. And if I bisect this segment, thinking in your head that here's an endpoint and here's an endpoint, and I bisect that, then I've made a perpendicular through that point. So how do I bisect it? Remember, you open it a little bit wider than the halfway. And I make my scoops. I draw through the intersections of the scoops. And here is my perpendicular that was going through this original point right there. So again, I will demonstrate this next one, but I will not say anything. You can pause if you want to, do it on your own, just to practice. So there you have it. Again, my ruler's a little off on my board. Sorry about that. So yours should be going through this point, this intersection, and this intersection to get your line that's perpendicular through the given line at the given point on the line. Okay, so that's it for this. Now what I want you to do is try the homework here down on your own. So you can see, what is level 1? Well, level 1 is just repeating the constructions I just explained to you. And then as you go through the worksheet, you can see what some level 2 examples are. So these are extensions. These are combining a couple of those steps to get this work done. So I will have a different video set up so you can see the answers to these. Good luck, have fun, ask some questions, and see if you can figure it out. If you're not sure, have your teacher check it or watch the video to see if you did the proper constructions. Bye.